Welcome everyone to our next interview, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Trudie from ABTA Lifeline and Sophie, who's supporting Trudie and will also be telling us a bit more about her story. So my name is Danny Wayne. I'm representing ITT Future You, and this is one of our interviews talking about skills and different opportunities within the travel and tourism industry. So welcome to you both.
Thanks, Danny. Lovely to be here. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. And do you want to just kick us off by giving us a bit of introduction, background to yourself? So Trudie, do you want to tell us about yourself and your career to date, please?
Sure. So I look after the charity ABTA Lifeline, and it's ABTA's charity. So we support people in the travel industry if they are struggling, if they fall on hard times. Previous to that, well, my background's actually slightly different. I graduated from university with a master's in environmental law. After leaving university, I studied sustainability, and I worked for several organisations. Lastly, before ABTA, I worked for British Airways, where I managed their environmental issues for them for over 12 and a half years. And then I did a couple of years working with ABTA as their corporate social responsibility consultant before taking on the responsibility of managing their charity for them.
Excellent, thank you. And Sophie, now I understand that you're actually working at Avis Budget Group. Yes. And do you want to tell us a little bit about your career to date, how you got here, and then how you got involved with ABTA Lifeline?
Yeah, of course. So I guess I had one of the usual sort of entries into my career. Was I went to university. I had a bit of a unique degree. It was consumer behaviour and marketing, which wasn't really necessarily travel related, but I sort of fell into travel. It wasn't something I sort of had as a career aspiration, and my university didn't really push travel, but I managed to luckily get my placement at Avis Budget Group within the travel and partnerships team. So they're sort of a group of sort of account managers and senior management, all sort of looking after other travel companies such as airlines, hotels, travel agents, tour operators. So I joined as a travel and partnerships coordinator, and my role was essentially the support for all the various account managers throughout all the different portfolios. I think, ever since then, I just fell in love with travel. I think the people, the team were just absolutely phenomenal. All the opportunities I was given as a placement student, I wasn't making coffees. I had responsibility from day one. And it was such a varied role as well, as I never thought of account management as a career, but I just love how every day is different. You could be doing legal things one day, marketing the next. So I really loved that, and especially working with all the different companies within the travel industry as well gives you such a breadth of networking and understanding the industry, really. So I sort of coming to the end of my placement, and I was a bit cheeky, and I sort of asked, is there any way that I can sort of remain working with you guys, as I've just really enjoyed it, and I extra money for university as well in my final year. So I was so lucky in that they actually essentially made a new role for me. So instead of a coordinator, I was now an executive, sort of working part-time throughout my final year of university, doing similar roles really to what I was doing as a coordinator in terms of being support. I graduated from university, stayed working at Avis full-time, and then within a year I managed to work myself up to be an account manager. So I was looking after some of the Middle Eastern airlines such as Emirates and Etihad, as well as some travel agents and tour operators. And then now my role's completely changed from when I started 4 years ago, but I'm now responsible for all of the UK and Scandinavian travel agents and tour operators. And I just loved it ever since. I'm always learning every single day, and that's something I want to remain doing in my career, really.
Excellent, thank you. So yeah, it really helps to be cheeky, and it gets you into some good places sometimes. So Trudie, the last 12 months have been really difficult for the travel and tourism industry. So do you want to tell us a bit about ABTA Lifeline and how you've been supporting the industry?
Sure. I think really we've had a busy sort of last 2 years. I mean, it really kicked off with the collapse of Thomas Cook back in September 2019. Never had we ever seen a collapse of this nature, a company failure of this size, and we were looking at sort of 9,000 UK staff that potentially were, well, they were going to be out of work, but also potentially coming to us for support. And for us, we did in just over an 8-week period, £150,000 worth of food vouchers, and then helping out with sort of priority bills for those that were really struggling to pay their rent, their mortgage, and other things. And straight after that, we obviously went into the pandemic. So there's never been more an important time as it has been over the last 2 years for the charity. And so we've continued our support, but we have really focused on, working closely with partnerships to help deliver the services that our community need right now. So we're looking at not only providing the crisis grants that they need to pay their priority bills, but also food vouchers again. Also where we have our partnerships in place, the Citizens Advice Manchester, we send people for debt benefits and housing advice, which is so important. We have an excellent partnership in place with the Centre for Crisis Psychology so that people can get that mental health and wellbeing support. And the other service that we developed in partnership with an organisation was a redeployment service, and that's with People First International. So for those that unfortunately have found themselves out of work, it was an opportunity for them to use their transferable skills and then look to redeploy into a different hiring sector until sort of travel started to opening up, starts to recover, and those opportunities to work and travel again open up. But our Lifeline doesn't stop there. We do everything. So last year, we did several funerals. Unfortunately, when somebody dies, the cost of a funeral is an awful lot of money, and people can't afford them. So funerals, laptop computers for school, might be school uniforms, school shoes, might be fixing a boiler. So, we treat each application with care and give it, the attention that it so deserves. So yeah, really important time for us, very busy. And of course, the biggest challenge of all, similar to many businesses right now, is the lack of income. We are solely dependent on travel industry funding, and obviously we cannot fundraise from an industry that is completely decimated. So challenging times, but with that comes opportunities. And, we're looking at about how we can recover and how we can build back better. So it's exciting as well. It is exciting as well.
Yeah, great. And so you've been super busy, and of course you as well needed support to try and help the industry. So how did you find Sophie to come and support you?
Well, Sophie is, as you can tell, she has so much energy, and she came to me and she said, look, Trudie, we've worked in the past. We have a great partnership with Avis Budget Group. They've supported us in fundraising at, various events, in particular the ABTA Travel Convention, where we do an annual cycle ride. So I've known Sophie over the last couple of years. And, she came to me and she said, look, what can I do to support you? And I'll be really honest, for the first month or two, I just hadn't got the capacity to even get my head around it. But, Sophie didn't go away. She was constantly saying, hey, I'm still here. What can I do? And I just loved her energy, her passion and her determination, really, really important. And so, yeah, we got things organised. We got a volunteer agreement in place. We got Avis's support towards the scheme. And I have to say, I like to think we have both really reaped the benefits of it. She has been amazing support to the charity. In particular, over Christmas, we had an awful lot of awards to give out. And Sophie has been primarily managing most of the applications that have been coming in. So she's been fantastic.
Yeah. So being tenacious and taking the initiative is really important. So Sophie, do you want to tell us about, I understand that you've been on furlough
Yes.
in your job. So how did you end up volunteering from your side? What was the case?
I think during my furlough time, what was really important for me was to keep busy, and to also have that connection to the industry still, because when you're out of it, you do feel a bit, you're not involved. So that was really important for me. I mean, as Trudie said, Avis has had a really strong partnership with Lifeline over the last few years, and I've sort of known Trudie through working from Avis, so I've been lucky to do that. And as Trudie said, the sheer amount of work that Lifeline's got and the amazing work they do for people in the industry is something I'm really passionate about. And I've done, my career today, I never would have thought I would have had in the travel. So I really wanted to give back to the industry that's done so much for me. And that's what I really wanted to do with Lifeline.
Yeah, thank you. And day to day, what does the volunteering look like? What do you normally do?
So I guess as Trudie sort of touched on, my main focus is primarily looking through the applications and awarding grants. But what I love about that is, every day when I log off, I can really see the impact that I'm doing. And I think because it's such a small sort of niche type charity, I'm really able to give an impact, and it makes me feel good as well if I'm being, selfish in that part. And also, during when I first joined back in November, it was really busy with Christmas. So I was helping to get out the all important food vouchers to people at a really difficult time of the year for a lot of families. But every day is different as well. And I'm really lucky to have Trudie, who does push me to sort of go outside my comfort zone. I could be doing anything from website updates to attending trustee meetings with really senior people in the industry. So I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Trudie can be very pushy. So Trudie, with your experience, and being pushy is important actually in this area. So with your extensive experience in the charity sector, are there particular skills that you look for when you're recruiting people, either as volunteers or potentially as employees for a charity?
I like to champion people that are really passionate and really determined, those that are showing creativity, innovation, and I've always, if I'm really honest, I've always backed the underdog as well, because I remember actually somebody who came to work for me a few years ago now, and she sat down in her interview and she said to me, Trudie, I've been told I'll never be able to do any marketing or anything because, I've come out of school with A levels. I actually don't have a degree. But her passion and what she delivered in that interview, and her second interview, was really something. And I really love working with people that are very committed and believe in what they're doing, but they really want to push themselves. They want to push those boundaries. As I said to Sophie, it's a new experience for her. We all make mistakes. I still make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes. But we learn by those mistakes, and it's so important. It really is. So yeah, somebody who's very passionate, got lots of energy, and is willing to learn and push themselves forward. It is an industry that's very bubbly. It's very dynamic. We have to talk a lot with people. We have to charm people at times. We need people to support the charity. And so you really need to be able to have those qualities. And yeah, Sophie certainly has them. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And transferable skills are so important at the moment, I think, for people who are being displaced and maybe moving into different roles, and whether that's out of the industry, coming back in. Sophie, from your perspective, are there any transferable skills that you already had that you've used during your volunteering?
Definitely, the people skills has been really, really helpful. Being able to communicate with people of all levels, and via even telephone calls and emails, it can be quite difficult with the charity as well. Speaking to applicants, it is very emotional, and you need to be able to communicate, with them in an effective way and be empathetic. So that's been really, really helpful. Yeah, I think mainly people.
Yeah. And do you have any new skills that you hope to develop by taking part in volunteering?
I think as Lifeline, is quite a small charity, I'm really able to expand my knowledge and develop skills. So I think with Trudie as well, I've been really focusing on communications and marketing, and sort of I end up doing a lot of copywriting or texting, like creating all the different articles and stuff. So that's been really good for me. But also to have a different learn different things about the industry as a whole. Working for Avis Budget Group, I do get quite a good, especially as account manager, I do have access to a lot of other companies and see how it works. But really, Lifeline's the heart of it, and you're really speaking to the agents and really understanding that way.
Yeah. And Trudie, from your perspective, are there particular skills that you see individuals develop when they're taking part in volunteering?
I think you watch them grow over time, definitely. You see how they do improve in terms of their communication, their people skills, and also how their confidence does grow in, say, the marketing side or the social media piece or whatever it is. I think the beauty of what Sophie's doing is that she has got this ability to look at different things and be involved in different things. I mean, 1 minute she's part of a budget meeting with my trustees, which are a very senior level. And the next minute we're brainstorming for events. So yeah, there's watching them grow in confidence, and using those skills that they can then apply back in their job, their normal job is really lovely to see. I do love watching people grow, definitely.
Yeah. And the great thing about Lifeline is the positive impact that you have on the travel industry. And if there are viewers out there today that are considering volunteering, whether that's in addition to their day job or whilst on furlough, like Sophie is, what advice would you give them, Trudie?
I think for anybody on furlough, whether it's charity work with Lifeline or any kind of charity, it is such a fantastic way of enriching, your experience and, everyday life, really. And honestly, the difference that you can be making, but also those skills, the network, Sophie's probably had more exposure in the last couple of months to different people than she probably would have had in her normal job. And I think the fact is now is that, with her Avis role, when she goes to a conference or a meeting and she sees these other senior people or, whoever we've been dealing with, she'll be able to pick up and nurture new relationships as well in different ways. So, I think there's lots of things that you can learn from volunteering, and it can really add something onto your CV, onto you as an individual. I would really strongly recommend it, especially at this period in time.
Yeah, and Trudie just mentioned there about the importance of a network, and that's something that I found through my career is really key to be able to build relationships and then business and so on. So Sophie, I know that you were recognised within the TTG 30 under 30 very recently over the last 12 months, and I was fortunate enough to benefit from that back in 2013, so definitely no longer under 30, unfortunately, but it's an initiative that ITT has supported, and we've worked really closely with TTG on that, and we believe it's very important for the future of our industry. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that, the process, how you got involved and what you've got from it?
Yeah, it came as a bit of a shock, and I think I bring it back to the team at Avis Budget Group. Whether it be my management, and I could even call them mentors. To be honest, sometimes they pushed me and nominated me essentially, and I was so honoured to be a part of the class of 2020. It's given me such an amazing platform. Having that to my name has really, really helped me and pushed me, I think, to build my network. Also being at Lifeline, having that sort of 30 under 30 behind me, I think has helped propel me in my career. So it's definitely been positive. Obviously, unfortunately, it was 2020, the year of COVID. So I've not actually been able to physically meet, my fellow class of 2020, but I'm really hoping, throughout the rest of the year, I will be able to, but we've still been able to have, meet virtually. And it's been amazing, to meet like-minded individuals, who will be the future leadership of the travel industry. And it's just amazing to be able to get inspiration from them and understand about their careers, because everyone's completely different. Not everyone's been to university or, started off their career in the same way. So it's really nice to be able to speak to them and understand that.
Yeah, and it's clear that your employer, Avis Budget Group, has been very supportive and encouraged you to take part in the volunteering and through the 30 under 30 as well, which is a really positive story to share with the industry, which is why we invited you along today. Do you have any tips for young people that may be considering doing the work experience, doing volunteering, or the work placement as well that you mentioned earlier? Yeah,
I think the placement's really been vital in my whole career. Without that, I can't imagine I would have got into travel. So that is, if you are willing or have the option to take a placement in your university degree, I couldn't stress the importance of that enough. But also, just ask if there aren't any opportunities. If you're passionate about something in particular, I think be a bit cheeky. And I was cheeky and asked Trudie if I could volunteer, especially in my working part-time for Avis. I asked again if there was an opportunity for me to remain working, and I got it. So just ask, be a bit cheeky. If you've got a passion for something, volunteering, work experience, just go for it, really. And I think the biggest tip is just always say yes, to anything that's thrown at you, because you'll learn from any single opportunity given to you, whether you learn, that's not what I want to do, or, you've really liked it. I think it's so beneficial. And just step outside your comfort zone. Even doing this interview, if you would have told me a few years ago, oh, Sophie, you'd be being interviewed, I would have laughed and said, no way. So, just take every single opportunity and say yes.
Excellent advice. I feel the same. A year ago, I would never have even spoken on camera and interviewed people, and now I'm doing it weekly or monthly. So you're right. Trudie, just to finish off, how do viewers get involved with ABTA Lifeline if they're interested to find out more? And what opportunities are there to engage with you as well?
Sure. So the first thing is go and have a look at our website. So all the information is on there. Any opportunities for people to get involved and support us in any way, you know, fundraising obviously is a key thing for us. But yeah, anything, you know, really just get in touch. You know, we're very open, we're very approachable. We love you to, yeah, support us in any way that you can, really. Yeah, just, and also emulating kind of what Sophie's saying, if you want to get involved in any capacity, I think just think through what you could do for the charity and how you can support other industry colleagues, because they all need a bit of support right now. And we will do over the next sort of, you know, we're talking about recovery over the next couple of years, if not more. And so, you know, we have a great industry with great people that work in it. And it's really important that we as a charity look after our staff and our people. So if all young people out there are going to be going into travel, fantastic. Think about how you can, you know, be part of that network and support it, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for a very insightful session and positive session, which is what we all need right now. So thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Danny. Lovely to see you.